Hello, it's the 30th of May today and I'm in the greenhouse this morning, and what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to pot up my Cucamelon seedlings into 3-inch pots. Now they've been growing very well. Here they are. Cucamelons are members of the cucumber family, but they grow very small. The fruit is very small. You get tiny little yellow flowers, absolutely gorgeous, and then you get a little fruit behind the flower, and that gradually gets bigger and bigger. Now you need to harvest your little cucamelons when they're about no bigger than an olive. If they get too big, then they get very bitter. They look like very small watermelons because they're green and they've got little stripes on them, but they taste like cucumbers, and they have like a little citrusy, limey sort of tinge to them. They're really nice. Just put them whole in salad. So they'll need to, like cucumbers, they'll need to sort of go around a structure. I do tend to leave them in the greenhouse and they just attach themselves to whatever they find. But if you want to sort of control them, then grow them up a wigwam. They'll do very well. In the UK they really need to be grown in a greenhouse, but if you live in a warmer climate then you could grow them outside. But when they start, they are really quite prolific, so you won't need many plants. She says I must have about a dozen in here, if not a few more. So looks like we'll be having cucamelons coming out of our ears. Apparently you can pickle them. Somebody did say to me that yes, you can pickle them and they still come out nice and crunchy. So if I have so many of them, too many, then I may well try and pickle them. But if I do that, then I will show you and let you know. So let me show you how to pot these up into 3-inch pots. Now it's very easy. I've just got a standard 3-inch pot there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it all the way to the top with some normal multi-purpose compost and just give it a gentle pat down. Now what we've got to do now is we've got to try and get out one of these cucamelons. You can see that these are, if you look down here, these are the baby leaves. All the baby leaves will come out first, the first little set of leaves, and they're sort of circular, and then after that you get the true leaves, which are sort of more pointy. All right, so we need to very carefully try and take one of these out. So whatever you like to use to get your seedlings out, I personally find a pencil is the best thing. Actually, these have grown and seem to be attaching themselves to each other, which actually is very handy, which means that I can take the whole lot out, and it's actually easier to gently prise them apart. Now if we look underneath here, we can see all the roots that have twisted together, which is great. So I'm going to very gently prise these apart. Do it very carefully. You will hear some of the roots ripping, but as long as you do it very gently, they will be fine. Okay, so I've got a nice one here, and it's got lots of leaves on it. It's doing really well. There's a couple, they're the baby leaves here, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, and it's starting to twisty its way up. Okay, so very soon it will start clinging on to anything that it comes across. Now I'm going to put these into 3-inch pots, so I've just shaken a little bit of the soil off, and you can see that there's all these lovely roots underneath. They're nice, healthy, long roots, which is great. So I'm just going to make a hole into the compost in this pot, right down as far as I can go, and then I will carefully lower this into the pot. Now put this, if you can, just a little bit lower than it was in the compost, in the seed tray, Okay, if you do end up covering the baby leaves, it doesn't matter. Alright, just feel round here, give it a gentle pat down, and that's one done. And now I'll carry on and do the rest. Okay, so I've got 14 here. I've got 9 in this tray and 5 in this tray. Make sure you pick out the strongest ones. You don't want the weak and wishy-washy ones, because if they haven't developed as well as the stronger ones, then they're most probably not going to develop very well at all. Okay, now once you've potted them up, all you need to do is to give them a good water. And again, make sure that you water from the bottom so that the water gets pulled up by the compost, and it also encourages the roots to grow down. Right, well, they'll stay in those 3-inch pots most probably for about another 3 to 4 weeks before I then move them into 6-inch pots. So the 6-inch pots will be the last pot that they'll be in. If I put them in a 6-inch pot now, they would just be too small, and they get freaked by too much space. Just think of it like putting a baby in a king-size bed. You don't do it, it just doesn't work. So it's the same principle with plants. If it's really small, then you put it in a small pot, and as it grows, then you put it into a bigger pot, and then it's not confused and shocked by the space. But when I do put them in the 6-inch pot, then I will show you. Well, I hope you found that useful, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye.